Hey everyone, welcome back to the Comic Corner. Today we're talking Multiverse of Madness. So we're a channel, we talk about a lot of nerdy culture, comics, Funko Pops, collectibles, board games. Of course you've seen Kaylin over on the board game side. We do a lot of playthroughs with those. But we're big fans of movies too, and especially nerdy movies. So we're going to talk to you today about Doctor Strange 2, Into the Multiverse of Madness. So just going into this, we do not know anything about the movie. We avoid all spoilers. We're avoiding anything on the internet that even remotely might spoil the movie for us because we like to go into it surprised. Everything you see and hear in our theory is just that. It's a theory. We're basing it just off of what we know about movies, what we know about past Marvel movies, what we know of the comics and their stories, and how they might inspire the movie as we see it from the trailer. Just in case we happen to be right about our theories, spoilers. Let's get into it. So what do we know about the movie so far? Well, of course we're getting Doctor Strange. He is in the title. And the last time we seen him was at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. So spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home. He erased Spider-Man's identity, so nobody knows who Peter Parker is. And we're assuming Doctor Strange doesn't either. So from what we can see, Doctor Strange is going to pick up and continue on his story after Spider-Man No Way Home. Will we see Spider-Man in this movie? Very unlikely, but we possibly could. We're also going to be seeing Wanda back as Scarlet Witch. As we last seen her in WandaVision, she was on her own, no Vision, no Billy and Tommy, her children, who were taken away from her. We're very likely going to see Wanda in a much darker place, especially considering she does have the Darkhold, which is a very powerful dark magic book. And if she's been using that for who knows how long after we've seen her in WandaVision, she could be very powerful. I think that's going to play out really nicely in this movie. A lot of people are saying she's going to be the villain. I think we're going to see just a darker side of a hero character. Of course, we're getting Wong back in his role, as well as Mordo, although that could be a different version than we last seen in the Doctor Strange first movie. We are also getting a new character in America Chavez. This is confirmed in the trailer. Based off her character in the comics, she is very powerful in that she can actually hop from universe to universe as she needs to. And she uses her star portal powers to actually hop from one universe to the other. I think America Chavez is going to bring a nice fun element to the movie. It's a new Avengers type level character that we could see pop up in other movies going forward. But she is going to make her big first appearance in this movie, and we're very excited to see what they do with the character. So as from promo material, we've seen different versions of our characters. I don't think we're just seeing one version of each character. If you've happened to watch the Loki TV show, there is a term known as variant that we're going to see, I think, pop up in this movie a lot. Now, variants are a version of a character we've seen in the movies that exists in another universe, maybe a little differently than we've seen them before. So from the trailer, we've seen our Doctor Strange, what appears to be an evil version of Doctor Strange, or at least a dark magic-wielding Doctor Strange, as well a third version that appears here to look to have a white streak in his hair, a little more than the white we've seen in our Doctor Strange's hair. And from promo material that's been released by Marvel, this character is being called Supreme Strange. From the trailers, it looks like this Supreme Strange comes from a world where maybe the snap didn't happen. Maybe Thanos never came to Earth. I think this version of Doctor Strange might take a dark turn. Maybe trying to do too much good, ends up going evil, or using dark magic in a way that turns him evil. I don't think this is going to be the hero Doctor Strange that we've seen in our universe of movies. So then we have to look at Wanda. We've for sure seen our Wanda, looking very similar to how we've seen her at the end of WandaVision. She also shows up in her Scarlet Witch suit, which looks very similar again to last time we've seen it in WandaVision. Obviously updated for purposes of the movie. We also see a version in the trailer of what appears to be Wanda going bad. Now we see this at one point. It looks like she's tearing through what we think is the Illuminati headquarters. We'll touch on them in a second. This Wanda appears to be doing very bad things. Now, is this the Wanda that we've seen at the end of WandaVision? Or is this a multiversal Wanda from another universe that maybe has gone even more villainous than we could imagine? I think it's the latter. I think we're seeing two versions of Wanda. We have the one that we've seen in WandaVision, and then we're also getting one that's from a version of that WandaVision, but has gone even more dark than the Wanda that we know. A scene that we see in the trailer very clearly shows Wanda with her two children, Billy and Tommy, who we last seen in WandaVision. I think it's just a dream sequence that Wanda keeps living through her worst nightmare, which is her reality of living without her children. The trailers are very much playing off this dream sequence for Doctor Strange living a nightmare of what could be, while Wanda is living a nightmare that is real for her. Her nightmare, her children were taken from her. Doctor Strange's nightmare is the evil getting in. And I think we're going to see that duality play off each other very closely, to a point where maybe they come together and help each other out. For those of you familiar with the comics, there is a story arc, House of M, that very much plays closely to these themes that we're talking about. Wanda losing her children, wanting to get them back. And in that story arc, we actually seen Wanda reset some things. And I think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see Marvel in the movies kind of reset their universe to set it going forward. Now that being said, I don't think we're going to see the famous line, "No more mutants," because that doesn't make sense to the story we've seen so far. We haven't seen the X-Men. We haven't seen mutants. We haven't seen Fantastic Four yet. Now for Wanda to say "no more mutants" in the comics would remove the mutants from the universe. I think instead, we're actually going to see Wanda having already done that. In the Marvel universe that we see in the movies, there's no X-Men, there's no Fantastic Four, there's no Deadpool, any of those characters. They do not exist in this universe yet. Now, I think we're going to see that Wanda's already said the line, "no more mutants," just that we haven't seen it. So I think this movie is going to reveal to us that mutants actually existed in this universe, but were wiped clean of history. And that we might actually see that reverted back at the end of this movie, where we actually have mutants start to show up. You have characters like Wolverine, Professor Xavier, Magneto, Beast, Cyclops, Storm, all those great X-Men characters could start showing up in other movies. And then eventually we build to the X-Men. I think we're going to see the mutants show up at the end of this movie. I think that is going to be the big reveal. I think we're going to start getting some name drops of famous mutant characters that we're going to start seeing in some of these movies going forward. So the topic of House of M, a very important story arc in the comics, also brings us to another very important set of characters in the Illuminati. Now, in the trailer, there is a grand hall, very futuristic looking. Obviously, we see some what appear to be robots guiding Doctor Strange up a set of stairs to what looks to be a judgment hall, courtroom, with a collection of chairs at the top. Now, the theory is that this is the Illuminati. So the Illuminati is usually a group of 6 that are assembled to watch over the Earth. And typically the Illuminati in the comics exists of Professor Xavier, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Mr. Fantastic, Submariner, and Black Bolt. Now, a couple of these characters we haven't seen yet in the movies. Now, if rumors are to be believed, we are going to get at least one of these characters that I just mentioned. If you've watched the trailers, you know who we're probably getting. Spoilers. It's going to be Professor Xavier. And it appears to be played by Patrick Stewart, which I think is going to be great for the Marvel movies going forward. because it shows that Marvel is not scared to bring back some of the actors we've already seen. I think we're going to get some of these characters show up on this bench of Illuminati as well. Some that we haven't seen in the roles. I think we're going to get a Mr. Fantastic. I don't think we're going to get Submariner yet. And the same could be said for the character of Black Bolt. That said, I think we're going to see a version of Iron Man that is not the Iron Man we've seen played by Robert Downey Jr. I think we're going to get another actor in that role, probably just for one movie. I think we're going to see a lot of different versions of characters we've seen already that then show up in other ways. And I think it's going to be really fun to see that play out. And I'm really hoping that we do see some big names show up. Even if they're just for one movie, I think it's going to be really fun. So let's get to the overall theory. I think we're going to see Wanda and Doctor Strange team up with new characters like America Chavez, likely Wong. Maybe we'll see Mordo show back up in a bigger role. He is in the trailer, but how much in the movie we don't know yet. I think we're going to see Wanda and Doctor Strange take on versions of themselves. These versions might be versions that went to the dark side and were unable to fight off that darkness. Maybe they succumb to a possession by certain characters that we've yet to see. Some are saying that we'll actually see the character Chthon, who is the creator of the Darkhold that we've already seen. So there's plausibility behind the fact that we might see Chthon as the main villain of this movie. And, of course, if you're talking about possession, you gotta talk about Mephisto. I know we said we weren't going to say his name, but Mephisto is always a possibility. I think Mephisto is on his way to Marvel. I don't necessarily think it's in this movie, but he will be showing up at some point. He's too great of a character to not use. I think we're going to see Doctor Strange team up to help Wanda, very likely get her children back, Billy and Tommy. I think the character Wanda has suffered a lot in the movies, and to make her suffer even more to then not get her children back, I don't think would be doing the character right. And I think we're going to see Wanda get her children, Billy and Tommy, back in some form. I also think the other big secret that's going to come out is that the Illuminati is going to tell us that X-Men, or mutants more general, have existed. We just forgot about them. It's the easiest way to bring in the X-Men, have the X-Men having already been established, but maybe they were erased from history for a short time, and now we're going to see that come back. I think something happened, whether it was Wanda specifically or someone else using magic, that made us forget that mutants actually existed. Those characters like Professor X, Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, Jean Grey, all those characters exist. It's just that they've been forgotten from history. So it's a quick, easy, some might say cheap way to bring in the X-Men. I think it's the most logical. We're going to get these characters at some point. Instead of bringing them from another universe into ours, why not have them already in our universe and we just don't know them yet? We're probably going to get some legacy characters back that we've seen in other movies. Maybe they show up again for one-off movies. It'd be really nice to see Hugh Jackman come back as Wolverine for one more time in the MCU. I think this is probably how we're going to see the X-Men introduced. They're going to be brought in very quick. We're going to know they exist, and then we're going to start seeing them show up in other movies coming forward. Maybe Black Panther, Miss Marvel, a lot of different movies coming up that could very easily introduce some of these big characters that we all know. Then there's the talk of who the villain really will be. I think it's going to be something simple as Wanda's being manipulated by the Darkhold. As we know in the comics, the Darkhold was created by Chthon, sometimes portrayed as a very monstrous-looking villain, or more typically a humanoid with demon horns. I think we're going to see something simple to that. The easy choice is probably Chthon. I really do think that someone is manipulating dark magic, and the easy bet is that it's Wanda and Supreme Strange, and that those characters become the villains. And behind them all is Chthon. In short, I don't think we're going to get a happy ending to this movie. I think we're going to see the Marvel Universe blow up in a way that there's no fixing it. I think we're going to see this movie springboard the MCU forward as we know it. This is setting up multiversal threats. This is setting up demonic threats. This could set up even galactic threats again, similar to a Thanos. I think this movie is going to act very much as an Avengers 1, where it brought characters together just to bring and expand the universe even more than we know it. And obviously expanding the multiverse. We're going to see different versions of characters going forward. I think it's an easy way to bring certain characters back that have died. And maybe they want to bring in different versions of those characters to take the lead. So I think this is a very easy way for Marvel to do a soft reboot while still respecting what's already happened. For us personally, we're very excited. For me personally, I'm as excited for this movie as Infinity War and Endgame, where Infinity War and Endgame did what it needed to do and tie up loose ends. I think Into the Multiverse of Madness is going to blow it all up, and we're going to see a lot of big things happen. We're going to see a lot of storylines start here that we're going to see play out for 5, maybe another 10 years. I think Marvel has a general plan where they're going, and it's pretty exciting to see it play out. The Disney Plus shows, as great as they are, they're telling smaller stories. And I think Multiverse of Madness, it's going to tell a very big story that we're going to see play out, like I said, years to come. I think we're going to see characters come in that we're going to see their own movies of. I think we're going to see threats, new villains that might be worse than Thanos. And I think that's kind of exciting. Everyone loves the villain. And there's some cool villains with Marvel. And no, I'm not just talking about Mephisto. So with that said, that's our theory on Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness. We're pretty excited here. I know I'm personally excited. I have my tickets for opening night. We're not going to spoil anything. If you guys do see it, let us know what you think. In the meantime, let us know what your theories are. Write them down in the comments. Who do you think's going to show up? Who do you think might not make it through this movie? Who's the villain? We hope you enjoyed the video. We hope to see you out there. We hope you enjoyed the new movie. And we'll see you in the next video.